It's so freaking weird. Make me a little bigger there. Alrighty. Turn that music down a little bit. I can never tell if it's too loud or not, but I think it's all right there. All right, so we're gonna do another somewhat late night crafting stream. I had a few things I was working on today, back and forth, but it was nothing that was too easy to film. It was kind of going back and forth, and oh, thank you, Duffman. What's up, man? Yeah, you know, when you're painting something, or I was priming some stuff, and it wasn't something that would fit at my desk easily. But I'm actually thinking about setting up a slightly bigger desk to be able to accommodate that. So let's see. How you doing tonight, Duffman? You're working on your Jurassic Park still? Where's the pen? Hello, pen. There you are. So I'm just going to make another little wall here to kind of go with the church stuff I've been making. 2 pillars on it, and this 3D printed window is going to go somewhere in here. Seven more trees today. Nice. Nice. Yeah, I just got to get up and get on some diorama stuff too. I tend to bounce around and only do maybe a couple hours at a time. But as you know, it's much better sometimes you just get in like a flow state and kind of knock things out. Okay. Yeah. I can't believe, though, this is the second Friday in a row I've managed to come on here. That's like a record for me. 2 in a row. Woohoo! How do I do this? Let me see. Duffman, I'm going to cut my base out tomorrow and figure out my layout for it all since I figured out the size I'm making it. Cool. Yeah. What size are you making it? And how many pieces are you cutting the base into? Because I know it's big. Anybody just jumping in, welcome to the late night chill and diorama crafting stream, where I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyway. I actually have kind of a crazy idea for a live stream. I never actually like promote any of these or anything. I could, you know, I have a Instagram and all that. I'm sure I'd get a few more people. But I just kind of have this thought. I'll talk about it a little later when a few more people jump in. But maybe I'll actually schedule something and stick to the schedule. I don't know, that's not my strong point. Alright, this is just basic stuff. But it'll look cool. You know what, let me put the church window on there. So that'll look a little bit cooler. And this is going to go probably across here like a piece of trim. Oh yeah, that'll look cool. I don't know which one of you guys suggested it last time, but someone suggested using, I can't remember if it was Duffman or if it was that, I think the guy's name was Cannon, using paper, just printing out a piece of paper and putting some clear acrylic and using that for a stained glass window. So I'm going to do that with this one, just to kind of see how it looks. Okay. I've been playing Diablo 4 a lot lately. Well, not a lot, but I've started playing it a bit. That's been all right. Pretty fun. Although I don't feel super productive doing it anymore. I used to really spend a lot of time playing games like that. Just gotta figure out the placement for all the trees in the landscape. Sure. 2 pieces. Overall, it's going to be 25 inches deep by 44 inches wide. That is pretty big and a lot to ship. Yeah. Yeah, because 25 inches by 22 inches when you break it up, I guess. Or you could break it the other way. The ones I've done like that look pretty good to me. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I try a few different things, you know. Shoot, why not? It's all good. I should have put a second mark here. Derpy derp. Being a derpy derp. Nah, you know what? Doesn't matter. I'll just kind of wing it. So Duffman, you got anything else lined up after the Jurassic Park diorama, or is that the only thing on your mind right now? Not that it's not enough. I know it's taken up quite a bit of bandwidth. They say you're supposed to keep talking on these things, but I'm just not too good at that. Gotta have someone to talk to. Let's see. I would like to have some of those 3D printed windows you have there. Yeah, these came out pretty good. I mean, this is the one that I downloaded, right? And it looks nice. The ones that was not what I meant to say. The ones that I actually designed in Blender look nowhere near as fancy or cool, but you know, for a simple look, if you put the paper in behind with the acrylic, it'll still look pretty cool, I think. Maybe like an abbey or something like that, you know, not the super high gothic fanciness. Two Star Wars dioramas, and then a rooftop diorama for some turtles, and a Gundam hanger for someone else. Not much, yeah. So, judging by the size of your Jurassic Park diorama, that will probably take you another 2 or 3 years to finish that lineup. I don't know. Maybe you'll do something not quite so crazy on those. Like a rooftop diorama, you do like the roof of a whole Walmart or something like that. Okay. I don't know. I'm just gonna go for this. I could measure it or whatever. Whatever, man. We're just playing with toys. It's not that serious. Alright, now I was going to try and cut this with a hot knife, but I'm not going to do that because I don't like using all the fumes in here with that much cutting. The hot knife puts out way more fumes than the hot wire cutter. Yeah, the trees take all kinds of trees. They take some time to knock them out, for sure. Yeah, but you know, it's hard, even if you don't work, it's hard to just spend like 10 hours or something doing something like this. After about 4 or 5 hours, you know, my hands hurt, my neck feels like it's never gonna be straight again. But I have pretty poor vision, so I have to get close and I'm leaning in a lot, and my up-close vision is just getting worse and worse every year right now. I've never worn readers. I've always worn distance glasses, though, and I'm probably going to have to start wearing something for the up-close work, which is crazy, because I've always been able to see things up close extremely well. But that's just part of getting a little bit older, I suppose. Right on. Duffman, actually, when I started doing this again, a lot was I was off work for a while because I was in the hospital, and I got pretty ill for a while. But when I started getting my strength back and I wanted to get out of bed and move around, I started going in the living room and making dungeon tiles and then dioramas again. And you know, that was about 2 years ago, and so it's definitely, you know, something you can control the activity level. It's cool, you feel kind of productive, you know, you're actually making something. It's better to produce things than just consume them all the time. So yeah, it's good, definitely good hobby for that. There's no way this cut is going to be very straight, but once I get it out, I'm going to put some trim in there to hold the window in, so there should be enough of that to cover up the slop. Hopefully. Yeah. Definitely, mentally. And it also, you know, it's a little bit, I mean, you're sitting down, but it's still a little bit of physical work. It's a reason to get up and move around and cut stuff and all that. Oh man, I need a sharper blade. This is tearing in here. Let's see. This is gonna be sloppy. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I used to use wood to frame them out, because at least the wood would be straight, and then put little foam shims in there. Something that this guy didn't do, and I didn't really do on these either, but when I usually design windows in Blender, I make a little lip on them, so, you know, it covers up all that sloppiness. May not look as realistic, but it definitely looks better. Yeah, the 1-inch popsicle sticks work good. That's the jumbo ones. Yup, for sure, man. Okay, I think we almost have this cut out. Yeah, it was a big debate. I almost went and played Diablo 4 instead of doing this. But I was like, I gotta start doing this at least once a week. And it forces me to knock this out tonight, too. If you ever get a 3D printer and start messing with that, it will take the place of some of that stuff. You know, it's not great for everything, but for repeatable, simple items like window frames and stuff like that, 3D printer is pretty awesome. Not so Super Mario. Hey man, how you doing? Just, you know, procrastinating too much and trying to get some stuff going on this stream here for a little bit. Oh yeah, look at this. I'm tearing chunks out. Did I not even cut through that part? That's what's going on. There we go. Cool. Okay, not too bad. Let's see, can I even see that? Yeah, there we go. Not too bad. Could have been worse. It's got a little wiggle room in there. Actually, a piece across the bottom might solve that. What are you up to tonight, Not So Super Mario? Besides, you know, hanging out with us. Brian Jared. It does fit. Yeah, it fits. And how are you doing, man? Thanks for coming in. Yeah, that'll work just fine. I wonder if this is too thick. A little bit, but makes it pretty snug. Come on, come on. Okay. Yeah, this is going to work out pretty good. Cool. Early afternoon into our winter months. Well, I can tell you it is not winter here in Texas. This is the beginning of summer, basically, but it's not too bad yet. Sometimes this time of year it already hits like 100, 102. Last year it did, but it was about 90 degrees today. And it's also 11:20 p.m. So slight time difference there. Okay, let me mark some lines out here. So Brian Jared, do you build anything, or you just kind of like watching? You make any dioramas or tabletop terrain or anything like that? Chop this up. So for anyone that doesn't know, this is part of some church ruins that I've been doing. They're actually... Where are they? Oh, right there over my shoulder in the background. That's a Deadpool figure in front of it, you can see for scale. It's just kind of like a set of ruins, kind of like what you would find in tabletop terrain for tabletop war games, but 1/12 scale. Yeah, I used to have some people in a gaming guild that were in Australia. And it sucked because you couldn't play with them too much, but it was great because they got to watch things when we went to sleep and vice versa. So we always had someone on guard to make sure things weren't getting wrecked. Oh, nice. Slot car track. Those are cool. Something I could, I'm sure I could get into. I used to want to do model railroads. That might happen one day, who knows. If I have my way, I'll have one of those, like a little warehouse building or studio eventually. And just build all kinds of cool stuff like that. That's the dream, anyway. Duffman, I'm not sure. There was a variety on that picture you sent me, but I didn't really zoom in on the foliage because, you know, Instagram isn't big on zooming. But we are using, what are you using now? Sponges? How is it? Is it sticking on there? Like, how durable is this stuff? Pretty decent? Because that's always the problem I have with adding foliage to trees, is it just kind of comes off when you, if it gets whacked at all. I mean, of course you could just keep it in a no whacking zone, you know, somewhere away from that. Man, I know I'm gonna mess this up. Hold on. My eyeballs are like bugging. There, there, there. Oh, man. I don't even think I'm going to do that one. Screw that one. It was amazing. Holds up good. I was really impressed. Awesome. It's always nice when an experiment like that works out. Using sponges, huh? So is that like the shower kind of sponges? Or actual like dish sponges? Brian, right? You gotta keep them up high, especially if you're buying like store-bought trees, because those things are expensive. Took the sponge and dipped it in Mod Podge and paint mix with a little bit of water, and then rolled them in some flocking. Okay, that's pretty creative. And Mod Podge triples or quadruples the durability of just about anything, so that's definitely good. Nice. That's a good idea with the Mod Podge. Brian Jared, makes his own trees too. How do you make them, Brian? Although, I suppose for slot cars, it's going to be a significantly smaller scale than 1/12, you know, action figures. But probably, what do you use, like lichen moss on? I know I've seen people use wire, clay, all kinds of stuff. Big sponge you would use to wash your car. Alright, I think I know the ones you're talking about. That's cool. Nothing too fancy there. That's what I like. I like stuff you can buy relatively cheaply to do this stuff with. Man, I can't see what I'm doing. Now I really can't see what I'm doing. Okay. I just got a new lamp. It's actually in the background right there. Nice tall, one of those metal arm lamps. I should have it over here right now, but I don't. Instead of cutting the sponges, I used a needle nose pliers and ripped them apart to make them look more natural and no flat spots. Yeah, that would give it a much more organic shape. That's a cool idea, for sure. And I imagine that would be pretty difficult to rip apart with your bare hands, at least more than just a little bit. So that needle nose is an excellent idea for sure. Before. Sent you some pics. Okay, I'll check it out in a second. Funny, I'm just thinking about that now. If I keep doing late night streams, I'm gonna end up with a an overseas group of people after a while. Because, I mean, heck, why not? Alright, let me take a minute and take a look. You do give me ideas. Yeah, you know, Duffman's given me some great ideas too. It's pretty cool. It's part of what I like about doing this stream is you just kind of talk to people that are doing something similar. Share some knowledge. Check out the old Instagram. Oh man, why does this happen on the computer? I keep having the same problem. Alright, let me get it on. I did see them though. They do look cool. Yeah, that looks like a lot of random organic floof. Did you... Wait, I think you told me if you Mod Podged it. Mod Podge and paint mix. Okay, so all the paint was in the Mod Podge, or did you have to touch it up after? Or I guess not, because the flocking, right? Mod Podge, paint, flock. That should probably be enough to cover it all. Okay. Because they look pretty, pretty evenly covered. I didn't see any spots or anything. It's a good idea, for sure. We all grow together is how I look at it. Totally. You know, I mean, everyone's going to have maybe like a little something that they don't share immediately, and that's totally fine, you know. Or some people will just share everything. But, you know, just kind of helping out a little bit here and there either way is definitely the way to go. Brian, yeah, if you want to send me pictures on Instagram, that's totally cool. I don't mind. I always like looking at stuff. There's actually a miniature show later this month in the city, not too far from here. I think I'm probably going to go by there and just, I think they have like workshops going and all kinds of stuff. And a lot of that like dollhouse miniature stuff is really, really, you know, applicable for this sort of stuff. All fits together nicely. Where's the little ruler? Let me use the little guy for a minute. No flaking off like the reindeer moss or pulling apart. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like it would be pretty solid. Just a chunk of sponge with that Mod Podge and moss. And the flock, I mean the flock even probably makes it stronger because it's soaked in Mod Podge. If you wanted to go crazy after you flocked it and after it was dry, you could probably take a spray bottle with some watered down, like a very watered down Mod Podge in the spray bottle and just spray everything and then let it sit for, you know, a day. I use that to hold flocking down a lot. There we go. Stay on camera. Forget I'm even on camera. No, well, definitely looks cool, like a cool idea. Yeah, that ain't right. See, I knew I was gonna mess that up. I always mess that up. We'll start on the side and go from there. If I completely like mess this brick pattern up, I'm just gonna like take a giant chunk out of the wall and it'll be a ruined section. I might try making some trees like that eventually, though. Although that sponge, I guess you could rip them smaller for smaller trees. Those trees you were making are a little bit too big for me. You know, not directly because he didn't... Well, actually, yeah, I guess we did. My dad had lots of little models around when I was a kid. World War II planes and submarine, the Kitty Hawk, things like that. And he was into trains when he was a kid, too. Took me to some train shows, model train shows. I think he tried to get me, you know, I had a model kit a few times and I did build some, but I was a mess when I started. I was younger and I had problems with the glue. I was gluing everything together. Wasn't quite patient enough for something smaller. I did a lot with Legos. But then later was tabletop gaming. I played Warhammer for a while and other games similar to that in high school. So did a little bit of miniature painting and then eventually terrain building. And it just kind of, you know, morphed over time. What about you? What got you into the whole slot car thing? Slot cars to me, although it just seems like kind of an older hobby now, not that there's anything negative with that whatsoever. I mean, I like coin collecting, or I used to kind of like coin collecting. Although I feel like I've heard a couple of people mention slot cars before. I can't remember the name they were using. There was a specific name. Yeah, it's not coming to me. Model railroading. Yeah. And I got to tell you, and I'm sure you think about this sometimes, Duffin, when you're making these giant trees and all this stuff. The scales of model railroading is way nicer sometimes than 1/12. 1/12 is cool, but you can't build anything really epic because it's so big. You would need, you know, a whole living room to build, which you could fit on a tabletop in like HO. Or N scale even. Your dear wife? Your wife got you into... Oh. Well, I don't know what type of modeling you're talking about there, but if you're talking about hobby modeling with miniatures, your wife got you into it? That's cool. How'd that happen? This is going to be all jacked up. I already feel it. It's coming. It's all right. Nope, that actually looks fine. Totally fine. Cool. Oh, into slot cars. I see, I see. So what kind of track do you have for the slot cars? You have like an 8x4 foot table set up or permanently, or is it something that you take down and put back up later? Strongly encouraged to get a hobby. Okay, well, you know, it's good to have hobbies. There's no doubt about that. Gundam hanger I have to make is 1/144th scale. So about HO scale. We'll love that. Yeah. For sure. I used to... Have you ever built any Gundams, Duffman? Or is the Gundam hanger for someone that collects Gundams? I never got super fancy with it, with, like, you know, the airbrushing all the parts and everything like that, but I used to build some of those Gundam master grade kits. Pretty awesome, honestly, the way it all goes together, and they have, you know, all these moving joints and everything. Really, really nice models. Yes, hobbies will keep you out of trouble. For sure. And also, you know, you make friends that are also trying to stay out of trouble and do something at least somewhat productive, even if it's just hobby productive. It's not destructive anyway. I'm not going to paint the back. I mean, I'm going to paint the back, but I'm not going to... I don't think I'm going to carve the back of this one. Yeah, Brian, just send me some on Instagram, for sure. I have a Gundam kid, but it's for a good friend that builds them, and he streams building them. We'll be streaming with him Sunday night while he works on his Gundam. I'll work on his forest diorama. Okay, on the forest diorama. Awesome. Very cool. I've thought about doing some model kit streaming too, and I might in the future. I actually bought... It's kind of a 3D puzzle, but it's kind of not. It looks more like just a 3D paper model kit of a the Queen Anne's Revenge, and it's big. I mean, I think it's like 26 inches or something. It's a big model. I don't know how long it'll take. I've never actually put together one of those paper style models, but actually has LEDs to light it up and everything. It looks pretty cool. Oh, I have a Gundam kit. Okay, gotcha. Nice, nice. All right, what are we gonna do here? I'm gonna tear this up a little bit. Smack it with a rock. I guess I'll cut on it first. Put another light on. Let's see. Ooh, too much? Model cars, yeah. I kind of want to try... well, I want to learn how to get... I want to get into airbrushing. I have some paints. Some Army Builder airbrush paints. Nice set. And I don't really... All I have, the only airbrush I have is that one... I think you might have recommended it to me. This job right here. And I didn't keep it clean enough or something, and it clogged up. So I soaked it, pulled it all apart and soaked it in rubbing alcohol the other day. and it started to work again. I don't know how well it's working though, so I haven't tested it yet. But I'm also worried about the airborne particles from that, because I like to do a lot of stuff in my bedroom. I could go downstairs to the garage and play with it some. But I kind of would like to get one of those little duct kits and just point. I have a window right here. I could just vent it out. Yeah, I mean, sure. I remember, like, when we would build glue kits, and the snap kits back then were considered basically inferior. You know, the snap kits were for little kids; they were the easy ones, and then the glue together kits were like the big boy models. But I would say with the Gundam stuff, it's not quite like that, because those Gundams they have a lot of parts, a lot of sprues in some of those kits, and it's all snap, but it also has crazy articulation. I mean, all these pieces on the move, like there's ball joints in the ankles and all kinds of stuff. So it's a little bit different than, you know, what I would consider like those old, like the snap-on models. Thank you, Brian. I'll smack it with a rock a little bit. When I first started making terrain, we didn't use pink foam. I used the white foam. And man, this stuff is just so much better. You could actually get quite a bit done with white foam. You just have to use coatings and stuff. Glue with sand or texture paint or something in there to kind of hold it together. Yeah, that white foam. Yeah. But it's easy to get a hold of, right? You know, it's always floating around. It's cheaper. If you go buy it, even in the DIY store, it's cheaper. But, man, oh man, does it make a mess. I still use it sometimes. Usually as part of something. And then it gets clad with pink foam. Briscoe, what's up, Briscoe? How you doing, man? Briscoe, it was hard for me to start this stream instead of playing Diablo, but I had to do it. I told myself I have to do it. Hopefully I don't end up staying up till like 3:30 in the morning or something trying to level up. (1800 by 4500 millimeters). Where is that? Okay, yeah, so that's a pretty good sized table. Nice. Have you ever tried the dry floral foam for anything such as good foam, sculpt something out of foam, or just have to coat it? So Euler's Workshop uses that dry floral foam, and I've thought about trying it, and I bought some, but no, I tried in the past and it was a nightmare. But I wasn't trying, you know, his secret concoction that he throws on there. I did hear someone else say that another YouTuber, that dry foam or that floral foam is meant to work wet, and you shouldn't really use it dry because it makes all these little particles of fine dust that are really not good for you. But I don't know, I haven't worked with it enough to experience that. Although anything, you know, you sand this stuff, and it's definitely not good for you either. If you, you know, get a lung full of it. Briscoe, yeah, I got it and played for a few days. I just yesterday joined the Whatafunk Diablo 4 clan they got going, but I didn't play with them. They were off doing their thing. I was doing my thing. I didn't really reach out. I didn't have the headset or anything hooked up, but definitely going to try and do that soon. Probably going to do it tomorrow. It's been a while since I played, like, got into a video game, though. A couple of years. Which could be bad, because if I really get into something, I tend to get really into it, and will definitely affect some productivity in some other departments. So I'm probably, if I do that, though, I'm going to actually stream. So if I get really wanting to play it a lot, I'll figure out a way to stream it. Although my computer is a potato, so I'm playing on I have a Xbox One, so even that's kind of old, but I could probably, I don't know, I think my computer can probably handle streaming it without, you know, having to run the game. Maybe. It's pretty old. Yeah, so yesterday it looked like everyone was around level 30. High 20s. A small wire brush to weather bricks. I use a small wire brush for wood, but yeah, sure. I don't see why not. It could be an effect that would kind of work on that. Is this one right here? Oh my goodness, look at that. I don't know how you... What are you doing, one of those? Like poking it? Eh. Maybe I'll add a little of that later. Yeah, this is like awesome for well, that's gonna make it look like a wood grain. I'll do one up here. Yeah. Oh yeah, I get it. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Looks pretty cool. Yeah, I'll just do an odd one here and there. Different texture. This stuff makes these wire brushes make for amazing wood grain and foam. I mean, I've made docks and crates and all kinds of stuff with this. Works really well. Briscoe, if you start playing Diablo 3, where would you... I mean, 4. 3, yeah. I'm a little behind the times. Diablo 4, what would you play it on? PC? Console? PS4 or 5. Cool. Do I want something like really busted up? Like... Yeah, we could do a few of those. Kind of want something down here, like just busted. There we go. PS4 or PS5? I have not bought any. Xbox One is the newest console I have. I don't really play them that much anymore. That one's been sitting in the closet for, I don't know, year and a half maybe. I was playing Overwatch for a while. That was pretty cool. We're gonna pop this window out for a moment. Yeah, Briscoe, I liked Overwatch. I liked all the different characters and everything, and the play styles are extremely different within the same game. Some of it was a little goofy. I kind of like that too, a little bit. I never got into Call of Duty. I used to play Gears of War, though, quite a bit. Right on, Jared. Yeah, it's it would be quite a trip, that's for sure. Mr. Brian Jared, that would be quite a trip. Although, you know, I have thought about going to Australia before. Seems like it'd be pretty cool to visit. Yeah, Briscoe. I never got into Call of Duty. Never ever. I did play Halo. You know, I played Quake, Doom, Wolfenstein back in the day, Duke Nukem. Really liked Gears of War 1 when it came out. I also played a little bit of 2, a fair amount of 3, and some of Judgment. But we had a group of friends going from work that would play Gears of War together. That first one, though, I played that for about a year straight, and that was amazing. That was amazing, especially because the chat system then was new on Xbox, so you could pretty much talk to everyone in the lobby. You smack talk the opposing team. It was kind of not heavily regulated yet. No one was getting banned or anything like that yet. Alrighty. Just, you know, probably not like super seriously, but it's just one of the places that would be cool to visit, I think. That's all. Obviously, the very interesting and different wildlife and critters and stuff. And also, there's also the allure of in the middle of the winter, you can go somewhere where it's summer, or vice versa if you're into that. Although I wouldn't really take a winter vacation to Australia. If I was going to try and go somewhere with snow, it would be, you know, maybe Colorado or something like that. Okay. Guess we'll work on these side pillars now. The good old days when you could still smack talk, right? Can't even do that anymore, Briscoe. Just get banned. I remember I was in Ultima Online. Me and a buddy were This is terrible. We were robbing this guy's house using a glitch. But back then, right, using a glitch was not like now where people are like, oh, you're cheating, you're hacking. It was just, you know, people found glitches in the game and they would exploit it and no one cared. Like Diablo, everyone used that dupe in the original Diablo. Did it mess up gameplay a bit? Yeah, totally. But did anyone care? No, no one cared. It was just like, you know, whatever. But this guy, there was this bug where you could use sacks of flour and you would put them in the tiles because it wasn't, you know, you were free walking, but it was a tile-based grid. And you would block the tile behind you and to either side of you, and you'd stand in front of their home and cast a gate spell. Well, the gate couldn't open where you were standing. But it could open in front of you. And the way they built the houses were, there were bricks around the foundation, but where the stairs were in the front, there was a gap. So you could force the gate to open into the house. And it would, then you would like walk through one gate and go and appear in the other gate. Because you had to mark a rune somewhere, and it would, you know, so you would mark a rune right in front of the house that would be one side of the gate, and basically would force the gate into the house. You'd walk through the gate, be stuck in the floor, log out, and when you logged on, it would automatically correct your Z-axis, and you would pop up into the other person's house. So we used that bug to rob all kinds of people, and this guy comes home to his house in Ultima, and this is probably the first year it was out, like 97 or 98. And we kill him, because it's all PvP all the time back then. He walks in the house, we kill him, he's a ghost, and we're just robbing his stuff, and he calls the GM, and the GM shows up, and the GM's like, it's creative use of magic, there's nothing I can do about it, you know, like, there's nothing. They didn't care at all, you know, in the beginning of that stuff, there was no reporting, no banning. I mean, I guess you could get banned if you really, I don't know what you would have to do. I mean, maybe if you really like scam someone hard. But I got scammed a few times, and I don't know, I didn't even think about reporting someone back then. It's just a very different mentality. Anyway, it's a little bit of the old-time internet days story time. I don't know what I'm doing here. This is going to be jagged. I'm going to make the roof of this jagged. We do have snow. Yeah, that's not surprising. I mean, it's big, right? Australia's pretty big, so I'm sure there's parts of it that snow. Do you have mountains with snow? Probably, huh? What do I want to drink? Water? Seltzer? Man, I'm turning into an old man drinking seltzer. Okay. Yeah, Briscoe. I got a lot of video game stories like that. A lot. And it was like for a while there, they were trying to make games that there were more consequences like real life, and you just had to like deal with it and not be so sheltered. And that was kind of the way everything was going. And then I don't know what happened. You know, we went from that to games more like WoW, where it was just, you know, you had to color within the lines much more. There wasn't as much freedom. Not to say, you know, there's anything wrong with WoW, but it just wasn't, it wasn't like UO, that's for sure. If I'm not going to do the back, probably don't need any more than that. Yeah, I'm not going to do the back on this one. Minecraft is a little bit like that, though. Sandboxy. Lots of crazy stuff going on. I really liked that some games started to kind of go back to that style a little bit. You know, because dying, I mean, well, RuneScape kind of survived, and RuneScape was basically an attempt to recapture the old feel of original Ultima Online. And EVE Online is another one. I've played EVE Online for a bit, and that's pretty crazy what you can get into in that game. I'm just gonna wing all this. Yeah, MMOs, they're cool. They take up way too much time. There's one that's a free-to-play that I was playing a lot of for a few years, and I just stopped a couple of years ago. Or maybe a couple of years ago now. Wow. But it just, you know, it was persistent world. The enemies, or anyone who wanted to, could always break down the walls to your base and raid your tribe's stuff. And it was always like you had to be on alert. I mean, it took a lot to get in. But it ends up, you know, you'd start getting Discord messages at 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's you'd end up just getting woken up and trying to fight people off. That was, you know, rare. But we had a server-wide war a couple of times. It's pretty wild. So the realism is cool, but it also adds frustration, and people become bullies and jerks. But also, without the risk of all that, you don't kind of get, you know, you get a lot of enjoyment more so, and actually build quite some pretty solid connections with people in games like that you wouldn't get from something a bit more casual. Can't find that 2-inch phone in my area. I want some. Yeah, you know, for a long time, Duffman, they did not have 2-inch foam around here either. And when they finally did, I was so happy, because I want to say I've only started seeing it in the past 3 years. Prior to that, they never had it out here. And I don't know why that is, why it just showed up. I kind of wonder if it has to do with that crazy ice storm they had in Texas that damaged everything a few years back, and then they were like, maybe we need to start getting some 2-inch foam down there. But the whole time I was doing War Games terrain, we were always wanting 2-inch foam to make, hills and mountains and stuff. Could never find it. So, Briscoe, on Ultima, there are servers that still run that are free shards that play pretty much the way it used to be back in the day. I want to say one of them is like UO Renaissance or something, but if you never played the game, it's kind of a lot to learn. Like that was the crazy thing with Ultima. You didn't know how to play it. Like, we didn't know how to play it. And there was before there were video game websites. So we were just in the game trying to figure stuff out. Like, didn't have any idea how the magic system worked. It took weeks for me to figure out how to do some things. And they started... Some of the very first online video game websites started basically for Ultima. There was a site called UO Stratix. And... man, what was the other one? The Egg or something? But they started just for Ultima and then became major gaming websites later. But not a lot of people know that much about Ultima, because really, although it was the most popular MMO at the time, and it was the wildly successful, it was really the first reasonably populated MMO on the internet. It's a relatively small number of people in comparison to what you have playing games now. I want to say peak was something like 200,000 people or something like that at once. Maybe it wasn't in the millions though. A Shadowrun or Cyberpunk MMO would be really cool. I'm surprised there isn't one. Yeah, I can't think of one either. People really like Star Wars Galaxies for a while, but I never played it. I play right after Ultima, or even during Ultima a little bit. I played a little bit of Asheron's Call and a little bit of Dark Age of Camelot. Dark Age of Camelot was pretty cool. What was the other one? Oh, man. Well, you say Cyberpunk. Eve is kind of like that a little bit. Eve Online. It's not exactly like that because you don't really see your character that much, but it's kind of like that. Martin, I'm doing good. How are you? Just Yeah, I haven't been streaming that much. I'm trying to do it again. This is the second Friday in a row. Maybe I'll keep doing Fridays, but I'm probably going to pick a day and try to stick with it. I actually have a little bit of an idea for a stream I might do. I don't know. It's a kind of crazy, and I don't know if I can manage to do it. And if anyone has any comments, you could say something. But I was thinking about doing a random diorama with random diorama, where obviously it can't be anything too complicated, but basically I would have people in the chat, or maybe do a poll on Instagram or community on here or something, where people make suggestions for what I should build, and then I just, without me knowing what it's going to be, spin a wheel and randomly have to build that diorama in the stream. So obviously if I'm going to be doing it in the span of one stream, it can't be super huge, and I'll probably take a lot of shortcuts, so it'd be kind of interesting to see, you know, how I would have to do that to be forced to do it. Good to hear, Martin. Yeah, I think it would be entertaining, because there'd be, you know, audience participation. The idea would come from you guys. Just seems like something that might be kind of fun. I might go crazy trying to do it. I mean, but I'm not really down for a 6 or 7 hours stream. But, you know, try it out, see how it works. I was even thinking the other day, like, if I just had to knock bricks out or something, just doing it without the ruler, just, you know, knocking some out real quick, make it a little bit sloppier. They still look pretty good. Be interesting to see. Martin, do you have a... Do I have one? Where is it? Do you have a metal ruler? I'm not sure exactly how you're doing it right now, Martin, but there's a bunch of different ways you could do brick lines, obviously. Generally, I just take something transparent like this, a transparent ruler, make my marks on one side, make my marks on the other side, and then connect the dots with a metal ruler, and run the knife across and cut that way. I used to draw the lines. You know, it depends on if you're trying to be super, super precise or if you're kind of a little bit loose with it. I think, you know, it's just up to you. But you definitely want to use a metal straight edge if you're trying to get everything, as I'm sitting here doing it without a metal straight edge. But yeah, for lines like that, metal straight edge, super huge to use. The vertical lines, that's a little, you know, I still use a metal straight edge sometimes, most of the time, but I have a hard time seeing where the line stops now. My sight is kind of moving away from me, so I'm gonna have to get some kind of new glasses. I might be entering bifocal territory here soon. Yeah, Martin, it does make sense. It does make sense. I mean, all I can say is you want to make marks on both sides. You know, make them on the top and on the bottom, or on either side. And if you you get to the point where you skip a line, because I know what you're saying, it's not that difficult to do, especially because you get kind of zoned out and you can just get all mixed up. I don't really have good advice for that. I mean, I do it occasionally, not usually, but occasionally. Like, I kind of messed up here. I had some measurements off, and I just kind of winged it and got it to fit, and looks okay to me. Okay, Brian. Thank you. Yeah, I'll check that out. I'll check it out in a little bit, though. I don't know what's going on. Whenever I pull up a photo on my Instagram on the computer, it's... maybe I have it in vanishing mode or something, but I pull it up and it disappears. No, it shouldn't be like that. It just disappears instantly, and I can see it for like 1 second. So I got to get my phone and look at it. But I will definitely be checking that out a little bit later. See, these are super not straight, but it doesn't matter because they're just going to be ruined kind of stone anyway, so that's not the end of the world. But bricks, yeah, I know exactly what you mean on getting them mixed up, though. No doubt. Yeah. Well, you know, if you get mixed up and you realize you're mixed up and you don't want to scrap the whole thing, you take that spot where you mixed up or wherever, like where they would all run together, and just take a chunk out of it and make it look like it got hit with an artillery shell or something like that, and then just try to line things up as best you can. Or you get some spackle and smear it over that, and there's plaster on the wall in that area. You know, whatever. I'm sure you'll get more used to not getting mixed up the more you do it. But like I said, I mean, I get kind of zoned out when I do this, and it has happened to me a few times as well. But I usually, some people will just scrap something because it's not perfect. They're like, oh, it's not perfect. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I just usually figure out a way to work it in. You know, kind of the Bob Ross, there are no mistakes, only happy accidents kind of mentality. I think it's easy to just get too anal about it. Although it doesn't sound like you're doing that. I'm just saying a lot. I've seen people that just get way too obsessed about having everything exactly perfect. But you know, you don't know what perfect is, and you might have an idea in your mind of what something's supposed to be, but the creativity you use in fixing a mistake oftentimes looks cooler than just the plan that you had in your head. You could do a stone wall. Yeah? The more bricks you do, the better you'll get. Yes, Duffman. I will tell you, though, I am really, really considering getting a laser cutter to cut some bricks some of the time. Because something like this is no problem. You know, it's relaxing. Something 10 times the size of this, it's a problem sometimes. You gotta split it up and you feel like you're going bug-eyed. Isn't it crazy? Like, you think foam is just this uniform chunk, but for some reason when you cut 2-inch foam, it always has this spot in the middle that takes the impressions better. And it always has that line running through the middle of more chunkiness of the dents. Yeah, I'm sure you do, Duffman, judging by your Jurassic Park diorama. Bricks can be... Ooh. You gotta break them up. You gotta break them up. But if you're doing a big wall, you know, on a 2-story building or something like that, is exactly when I run into the problem that, you know, Martin's talking about. Especially if you're doing it for hours on end and you're tired already. Towards the end of it, you start getting lost and mixing stuff up. Yeah, Duffman, I know. That's why I pointed that out, because I know you haven't actually seen 2-inch foam in the wild. Alright, I'm going to chop this up a little bit. I guess I'll do the top too. Maybe I'll... Yes. These are the... I mean, these are fairly small, but they're the cheap bricks. They're not the actual 1/12 scale. The actual 1/12 scale bricks that are about half the size of this, they look great. They look great. But, yes, it's very... can be tedious. Yeah, Brian, I'll look at it. I'll look at it for sure, though. Wonder if I'm going to fire up the hot glue gun or not. Yeah, I think I'm going to go laser. I don't think I'm going to mess with the CNC. CNC is a lot of dust. Laser is a lot of smoke, but the smoke is a little bit easier to deal with, I think. Nice. Did you, I don't know, do CNCs use G-code like 3D printers? I'm not sure what they use, but did you actually design objects or mostly the running of the machine, which, you know, obviously very useful knowledge for doing that. It's a mostly dulled pencil. Yeah, I like it's a little bit sharper than I would normally use for it, but it's, let's see if my camera will get it. Pretty dull. Pretty dull. Oh, nice. Yeah, Duffman, I don't know why you don't, you should get one, man. I mean, they have like little units that are not super expensive, and I bet you could probably talk one of the people you're making dioramas for into getting you one. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong there, or they could all kind of like pitch in and get you one. And then you could make them some cool stuff. If you have space for it, of course. Alright, I'm going to do something up here, because this can't just be perfect. Can it be perfect? Nah. At least we'll take a... we won't get too carried away with that. Okay, so do I want to just... normally I would add toothpicks in here to hold this together, but I think I'm just gonna hot glue and aliens. Yep. So... let me get set up to get the hot glue gun going. No space. So I'm in an apartment right now, and yeah, hot glue is interesting. I'm in an apartment right now, and I converted my patio storage to actually be outdoor space for a 3D printer. But I can probably use it for that laser cutter. I do have a garage that I rent, but I don't want to have to be that far away from it. Also, when I'm up, I'm going to run to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. Just a minute. Just recently got the Creality 3 V2 3D printer, but struggling with the whole leveling the bed. Yes, so that can be a pain. I have a Creality. I got the original Creality Ender 3. I want to say, I don't think I have the V2. I have the Ender 3 Pro also, and I don't use it. I did get it to work, but I had some issues with it, and the manufacturer had to send me some extra parts and a different board for it and everything to get it to work, and they sent me a file, and I had to load the file. It was a big hassle. And I just, like I said, I already have the Ender 3, and I also have a resin printer. Leveling the bed, I eventually got a certain G-code, a certain file. I can't remember where I got it, but it prints in a pattern that starts in the middle and just goes around out slowly further and further, or it starts on the outside and goes in. I can't remember, but it really hits every part of the board, and you can really see with that, you know, how you have to adjust it. So I found that to work pretty well. And once I had that, it pretty much solved my bed problems. Now, I did have to I replaced some parts on it because I've been running it for about four years plus now. But yeah, and no, this is not my own design. This is from someone on Thingiverse. I've made some windows, but they're not as nice or as fancy as these. Yeah, like these little chunky guys are mine. All right. Yeah, thank you. It's just a different look. It's much simpler, but yeah, I think they'll look good. And so I'll use them in something as I throw it on the ground. Okay, how am I going to know if this is even or not when I'm hot gluing it? Nope. Aliens first. Aliens first. Duffman is scared of hot glue. He has an aversion to it. And my gun is wanting to be a butt again. Oh yeah, this thing is really on its last legs. DJ 5Ash, what's up, man? What's going on? I just burned myself more than I like to admit. Yeah, I do too. I just try not to. I just take the pain in silence. There is nothing wrong with using more flock than foam. Flock looks good. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this other side on here. Why don't I mark how big it is? Duh. I think I could probably manage to do that if I could find my pen. So it's about yay big. Come out. Oh man, you gotta be kidding me. Okay. No. That's kind of crooked. It's all right. It's a ruin. It's not supposed to be straight. It's going to be a ruin with a stained glass window in it, though. Yeah, Duffman, I remember you saying Oilers was the one that got you on that. He uses hot glue, though. I've seen him use hot glue. He just uses it in certain circumstances. Okay, that looks pretty good. Good enough. Good enough. So... Now, what would this look like? Let's see how this trim is going to look when I start putting it in here. Okay, that's not going to look. That's going to look good. Yeah. That'll be cool. Eduardo, Brazil here. What's up, man? Greetings from Texas. Okay. Yeah, that's going to look fine. What else am I going to do with this now? Man, I'm about to munch a couple of these goldfish real quick. That's what I'm about to do. I'm muted for a second. Yeah, let's go ahead and add a piece of trim in right there. And we could use this devil hot glue gun too. That'll help with that. What are you up to tonight? Or probably not night in Brazil. I don't know what time it is in Brazil. What are you up to, Eduardo? $2:57 a.m. Man, you're more crazy than I am. It's only 12:58 right here. Need some sconces with flames coming out of them. That would be cool on this. That would be, but it's going to be outdoors. Although that still would be cool. It doesn't have to make perfect sense. This little window holder thing in here. Oh yeah, 1 a.m. now. Well, it's Friday night. I don't have work in the morning, so not too big of a deal. I've been staying up till about 2 lately anyway. I really need to get back to my earlier sleep schedule, but I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. Okay, well that's going to keep happening until I glue it in place. So I'm going to do that thing like you were saying with paper on it. So this isn't the pattern I'm going to use, but you know, it's going to be something like that. Do I have a light? Yeah, it's actually fairly transparent. I wasn't sure it was going to be that. But it'll look cool once I get the right pattern on there. Do you remember Star Corn toys? No. Briscoe, I don't remember Star Corn toys. Eduardo, I'm a lawyer and I work late night because it's so quiet. Yeah, I can dig it for sure. It's a lot easier to get stuff done later at night, no doubt. I can't think with a lot of people doing stuff. That's usually why I even a hobby like this, just being able to just kind of zen out and not have everyone coming at you. I used to work in an office where I had to deal with a lot of people directly, as well as answer the phone and look up stuff on the computer at the same time. And you know, I'm a guy. That was too much for me. I could do one of those at a time well, but trying to juggle all that at the same time was very, very stressful. Kind of drove me nuts after a while. Okay, so I don't know. I'm thinking about, I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, but I got this stuff we did on the last stream, and it's all base coated black. Looks pretty good black. Do some, do I want to do some dry brushing now? Do dry brushing, or do I want to mess with this some more? Now maybe I'll put a block or two up here or something. Maybe we'll do that real quick. Oh, I know what I could do with this. I know what I could do with this real quick. I'm gonna add some grit on this real fast, because that's gonna take some time to dry anyway. And I'm using this stuff, which normally I would just use Mod Podge and some kitty litter or just some rocks from outside. But I got some of this came in a kit, and this glue dries like crazy fast, and somehow, I don't know how, but it grips the pebbles and stuff. It grips it better than just most PVA glue. It's specifically designed for XPS foam. I'm sure it's pretty expensive. It was sent to me as a promo item, though, part of a big kit I had a company send me. Army Painter. It was part of their Game Master line, which is their terrain building stuff. And the products are really good, actually. Really good. Which is cool, because I usually kind of tend to cheap out on a lot of my supplies. I try to do things through the lowest cost possible when doing diorama stuff. Although, I mean, I will spend money on things, but you know, I try to get it lower. So I probably wouldn't have tried this product otherwise, but I might actually buy some more when I run out, because it's pretty good. The glue is quite amazing, and it might be just like that styro goo stuff. I don't know. I've never used the styro goo, but this is specifically for XPS foam. And what tripped me out was it dried pretty well in like maybe an hour, maybe not even an hour. You know, if you use PVA glue or white glue and you put sand on there or something, it's got to sit overnight. But not this stuff. Around the same size as Mask Toys, and they had little magnets on the feet and the vehicles so you can attach them to make bigger vehicles. You know, I kind of remember something like that, and of course I remember Mask. Magnets on the feet, not sure. And my windows look fine. Thank you, Brian Jared. If I spent a little bit more time with Blender, I could do something a bit fancier, I'm sure. It's all just time. I was getting pretty good using a program on my iPad, Shaper 3D, but it's just too expensive. They kept raising the price, and now it's $30-something a month subscription, which is, you know, it's not like the end of the world expensive, but I have lots of little monthly fees and stuff for things already going. I didn't want to add that. More grit. Where do I want it? Hot glue isn't good in warm weather. Yep, that is true. That is true. Most of the time when I use hot glue, unless I'm being lazy, most of the time I use some Aliens tacky glue along with the hot glue, which is another one from one of Duffman's favorite guy, Euler's Workshop, because the hot glue just acts as like, you know, a nail to hold things in place while the Aliens tacky glue sets. So you could still work with it and still move things around. Or, I mean, you know, pick it up and move it around. Obviously, you can't move the part around once the hot glue is on there. Do I want more grit than that? Maybe a little more. I feel like it should be way dirty, but... I guess the thing about hot glue is if you don't have like a total drawn out solid plan on how to do something, you can do just kind of slap something together with the hot glue and not have to think about it as much. You can just kind of get into and go with the flow. Whereas with PVA, you know, white glue, the flow is constantly interrupted by waiting for dry time. And so while it's, you know, it's obviously better for lots of things, it's kind of a little bit more difficult to just kind of get in there and be creative. For those of you just joining, this is the floor of a ruined kind of church thing I'm working on, which is right there in the background. And that is a Deadpool figure in front of it, a 6-inch figure for some scale on how big that is. But it's just like ruins, and there's going to be different parts of it. This is going to be the little patch of floor that survived that's sitting in front of it. Yeah, Eduardo, that sounds stressful. No doubt. No doubt. Whenever you're dealing with issues like that are super important to someone's life, you know, it can be rough because it's the most, and obviously the most important thing they're going through in that moment in their life. So, you know, their energy is all in that, and it's kind of hard to match that when you're dealing with person after person after person. Obviously, you have to do the best you can, and you know, you have a job to do as well. But yeah, I get it. It's emotionally draining too. I used to work in basically HR, so not the same, but I had, you know, people coming to me with issues, and it sometimes when you're one person dealing with I dealt with probably about 400 people, you know, your tank is only so big to have the emotional experience of stuff like that. Okay, we're gonna just set this to the side and let it dry. All right, I'm gonna try and lay down and have some sleep. Duffman, thanks for coming by, man. And yes, it's a good idea to sleep. I'm probably going to do that sometime in the near future. And hope to see you again soon. Good night, buddy. Okay. What's next? Do I want to do trim on this? You know, I don't know. It's not really necessary. Child support, yeah, well, there's unfair situations with that too. Definitely. So it can be a both ways kind of thing sometimes, but it's definitely can be very one-sided sometimes. Brian Jared, have you ever used a soldering iron to do brickwork? No, not a soldering iron for brickwork, but I have used it to melt, you know, the face of something to make it look like stone or something jacked up like that. I have a wood burner that I thought about using to cut things out, but my wood burner does not have the temperature adjustment, and it's just too touchy. I need something with that you can, you know, dial in the right temperature. As Duffman said, the exact same thing I just did, but yes. And they have all different tips for the wood burners too. You can get one of those kits probably, I'd imagine, on Amazon for not too much. Okay, you know what? We'll do a little painting. That's what I'll do real quick. Yeah, the soldering iron is too hot for controlled and doing bricks, but we used to just use it to melt to make like a, you know, cliff face or something. Yeah. No. Okay. I need... What do I need? I got the paint right here. A little palette. That's what I need. I need to unplug my hot glue gun before I forget about it, because that won't be good. I need a bigger desk is what I really need. But we're going to be working on that soon. Okay. It's a really soft brush. Hopefully it's not still too wet. You know what? I'm going to try that on the bottom first. No, it's doing good. So sometimes a soft brush for dry brushing. It just depends on what you're going for, but it can be kind of cool. I've been meaning to use a makeup powder brush. I know sometimes people use that. But it seems like it's just easier to not get lots of really bad streaks using the softer brush. Okay. So, Painting things black before anything else. If you're going to paint it a solid color, like gray, if I was going to paint it all gray, then you could just start painting it all gray. Although sometimes I'd paint it black first anyway, because the pink foam peeks through and it's easier to see the pink with the black, because it just pops out more. And then otherwise you'll get like a light shining on it one day and you'll just see like all these little pink spots that you missed when you were painting it. But also, as you can see, I'm not doing 100% coverage. I'm dry brushing it, so the black is actually acting as the recessed shadows. The other way you could go about it, like I said, if you painted the whole thing like a lighter color, like maybe a step up from this gray, lighter, then you could go back over it and put a wash to sink into the recesses, and that's a very popular method as well, instead of just dry brushing the whole thing. But it's just a different look. And as you do your dry brushing, you just move up in shades, just lighter and lighter. You start with the darkest and move up lighter. So sometimes I'll do lots of different colors. With this, I'm just going to add probably one more gray, less coverage, just try to pick out the higher spots. And then maybe I'll do a teeny touch of a lighter gray after that. I'll see. Thank you, Martin. Yeah, I mean, even if you have all of that down, sometimes I'll watch someone else doing something similar and they'll just do one little thing different. And even if you just pick up like one little thing different from someone else doing it, it's could still be useful. This music actually makes me think of Shadowrun. Okay. I'm going to switch over to a harder brush to do some highlights. Oh, really mid-tone, not really the highlight yet, but kind of. Basically just painting using the flat of the brush, not even the tip. Oh, a little bit too much bristle there, but that's fine. I'll go in and kind of, you know, hit some spots like this. Around the cracks and stuff, or where I just want to break it up a little. Yeah, Briscoe, I need to find another. This is the same one I always use, but this is the only one so far that doesn't get me any kind of copyright strike. But I got to find another one that works, so I have something to switch it out with every now and then. But I like it, so I'm not sick of it yet. Thank you, Brian. Thanks for coming by, man, for sure. Thanks for the comments and a little bit of conversation. Makes things go a lot quicker. Oh, man, my back. 1:30. All right, probably gonna wrap it up here in a minute. Let's see, been going for 2.5 hours. Maybe I'll do this one right quick. Oh, nice. Orlando, huh? I used to go to Florida a lot a long time ago. My grandparents had a condo in Florida. We lived in New York. It was very common, people from New York to go down to Florida when they were, you know, older people would go down to Florida for the winter. Get that nice weather. But yeah, I love Florida. Florida's a pretty nice place. But sounds nice, Eduardo. I hope you guys have a good time. I'm sure you will. Alrighty. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for tonight. See if I can take 30 minutes or so to kind of wind down and then hopefully get to bed by 2, but I don't know. It seems debatable. Maybe I'll try and squeeze an episode of Star Trek in to try and fall asleep too. Well, thank you everyone for coming by and talking. I always love having people in the comments chit-chatting because it's just makes the time go by quicker. And hopefully I'll be doing this a little bit more regular. Hope everyone is got that little notification bell clicked so you can see when I go live, because I've been very random, obviously, no schedule. But thanks everyone for coming by and hanging out, and I hope everyone has a good night.